Well, I wanted to thank everyone for coming to this uh, mini self-awareness class here. And it's a mini class, and this is just one piece of an understanding of self-awareness. So, and this is just what I'm working with at the time. There's many, many aspects to self-awareness. And I feel that this is going to be exciting, thought-provoking, and very experiential for all of us, even myself. Uh, hey, Brad, how you doing? Thanks for being here.
Good.
I appreciate it. Thanks for coming on in. So I do normally, as I have expressed recently, travel around the country and working with people. And now we're actually reaching various countries with the Healing Circles gatherings and classes around the world as well. I also have appointments, let's see, just basically for spiritual healing. That's my forte. And I'll be able to, at times, influence or see the influences, I should say, and help influence the other people involved in your life that have influenced you, whether it be family members or friends or people that you've witnessed. Sometimes I'll be able to perceive of them, not all the time, just sometimes, and others that you don't even know or haven't ever known before that might have passed or not passed, and causing you to help you in the ease of your distresses. Appointments are always through telephone, Zoom, or FaceTime. And there's also workshop courses aligned that are being, that people pay for, that you'll have access to. This particular class is part of a mini series of classes that are free to everyone. And I really like that. There's let's see, I've already mentioned about the Healing Circle that's free to, and available to the public. Most everything is available if you're not already a member and joined up with the Facebook community group, Spiritual Healing with Mark Ehrlichs. And please understand the mini courses are just a taste of the courses I'm offering in the near future. And some of the material I'm expressing is from my previous writings. It's from other sources. It's what I've been taught from, the writings that I remember from other people and from my experiences of life. In this mini course on self-awareness, I want to just give you information and understandings, experiential work that could have something for you to take away with and wonder about and even contemplate about and utilize in your life. One aspect of self-awareness is our purpose and is the objective in our evolution, and which I'll be talking about from now and for now. And after all, as I teach in most classes, in what we accept and easily chat about in life with others is what we call reincarnation. And as I've experienced and have been taught, we've been here hundreds of thousands of times, and we're going to be here hundreds of thousands of times more. And that's just a way of getting to know ourselves. There's no other rhyme or reason for this wondrous expression of reincarnation, excepting to become self-conscious, thus knowing ourselves in the godliness, in the divinity's consciousness, which is the purpose of reincarnation. Also, in our process of evolution and growth and awareness of our senses and our abilities to become more aware of them, this is what we're developing, what we're finding out in our evolution and growth. And this enables our minds and ourselves to become more free in life without the restrictions of conflict. Conflict is the very dynamic we have in our thoughts, words, actions, and life. And this is our saboteur. This is the saboteur of our life, is the conflict. We can't blame it on the ego for our conflict. That doesn't, the ego itself does its job in exaltation as we keep it in check. Otherwise, we're exalting ourselves. A teacher once told me we'd be like an old pair of worn out shoes if we didn't have the ego. And I really can't say that I've ever met anyone without it, except for those that are in literally the state of love. And many of those in that state of so-called love, it's only lasting for a period of time, because in the beginning and end, it's always a prerequisite that there always has to be a deep love for yourself. So it can't maintain as we break from that consciousness in that deep love for ourselves. And how long can we maintain in that state? So this is what we're learning and what we're developing and growing into. The activities of life exacerbate neuronal activity. And this helps to create the most wonderful stories we see, accept, believe, and live just our whole life around. But how do we know and how do we tell what the truth is, what our truth is? Ideally, there's an observation, and there is objective. And that's what we're striving for, is this objective observation. Otherwise, we're subject and subjective to the world and its mind. You see, as we observe something, as we witness in thought or in person, there is no judgment. There is nothing to defend or fight for, critique, or even think about, as we are in the state of observation. As we try this in the simplest of experiences, we're wondering and in a state of calm, because observation is the moment where there's no knowing what's going to be happening, no understanding of what's being said. We're observing to get a fuller story, and in the use of all of our senses in that state of observation. We're in the state of wonder and in the state of being calm, because there's no other activity that's happening in our thinking. And it's as we're wondering that we get to perceive the pictures and the information or the words. We get to see pictures of the words themselves. We're not actually experiencing, let me rephrase that. We're not realizing what we're experiencing. And that's where the observation comes in. This is when understandings and answers come to us. Just like an analogy I always give, when we're in a shower, all of a sudden we'll have an aha moment because we're focused on something. We're wondering about something. Or when we're doing the dishes, we're focused on something, then the aha moment comes to us. There's no thinking. It's coming to us. And all this is happening when it won't happen when we're thinking of something, a conversation or a situation that's happened in our lives and reacting with it emotionally. It happens when we're perceiving information. Again, the answers come to you without having to think the answers. And that's the only way the so-called spiritual moments happen, when we're not in the process of thinking, when we're in the objective observation. That's when the aha dynamics happen within us, and we have realizations and understandings. It's nothing that we're creating with our mind. And this is actually our self that is communicating with us and through us, literally. And we're actually becoming self-aware for that moment. But how can we actually become more self-aware, more purposefully? Which is an awesome question. And it's only accomplishment through what we call, not in a religious term, but what we refer to as prayer and meditation and contemplation. See, contemplation is the activity of meditation, and we can utilize that as a tool. We can wonder about something without knowing the answers. And these three things, the prayer, the meditation, and contemplation, are the vehicles which are available to everyone. And they help us to become more observant and self-aware. These three things align us in a greater mind that we all hear about and talk about, but this is the availability to it. And with this greater mind, there's more of a blending. When we're in the greater mind, there's more of a blending of the heart and the mind. There's many ways that many want to show you, that many people want to show you is their way. Many people are just going to want to help you to understand their way of doing things. And sometimes, not all the time, sometimes these people are just showing you a way to escape and not get into a greater and fuller reality. I say always question with the question from the heart or the mind, not just accepting anything and everything. Always question what you're perceiving versus immediately following. Wonder what they're sharing with you. Wonder what they're telling you. Is it an escape? If you look at it objectively, you'll see if it's an escape from your reality, or it just pertains to their life and what they're sharing with you. Always question it. And question it with your heart, and question it with the mind. With everything. Every question your own self, even question your own self when perceiving spiritual experiences within, or even greater revelations. When you have something fantastic happen with you that you consider a tremendous experience of the Spirit, or in the mind of God, or the Creator, or the Nameless, whatever you want to call it, your own universal mind, always question it and see the reality behind it. What you get might be a great revelation or a great experience, but as you question it and wonder about it and saying, show me more or tell me more, you'll see that the simplicity that you got that was this great revelation, it will break it down into something smaller, but that smaller will be just profound, and it'll have volumes more information in it as you question it and you want to know more, and you're getting to see the reality of it as well as it pertains to you and your life. So I say always question. Learn to challenge it, as then it can change into something even more and greater and expansive in your understandings and sight. Listen and watch for it is the way to do it. It has something to tell you. It has something to show you, that voice and the movement inside. It has something to share with you. And it's waiting for us to come to it in our wonderings about things. Eliminate prejudgment. It'll always derail you. All prejudgment derails. you're coming up with your own answers in replacement of that voice within, as the old ones used to refer to as the small, still voice within. If you're not acting in control of it, then it will share more with you as we're wondering about things, which is the way to do, which is the way to perceive. As we obtain the wonderment, we're receiving the revealings from within, which is revelation. So eliminate the prejudgment, eliminate the predeterminations, and those things will just derail you in your life at all times. The idea is to become more conscious of wondering about things and wanting an answer about something, or an elaboration on something that you don't already know the answer to. It will share with you, whether it be about a situation of life, or whether it be about someone else that you're involved with in your environment of life. It will share with you. And when we do the judgment aspect, though, we're literally perpetuating a pattern. And that will keep the pattern going of judgment in our life. So as we begin to wonder on the other side of the coin, when we begin to wonder about things or people or situations, then that begins to create a greater pattern of our life. Since birth, we're given a choice on how to use our free will. And we can hear that voice or see the voice either now or later, a little or not this time around, or a lot. Seeing and sensing in itself is healing to someone or yourself. You're in the activity of doing something. You're being active, and then you're creating a greater pattern when we're in that moment of wonderness about ourselves. We're reminding ourselves continually. And we're working with and removing the causes of our separations, of our fears. This is fantastic healing. And it's working with and removing the causes of fear, because we're replacing it with something that we're allowing ourselves to be a part of, that's naturally a part of us and wanting to express through us. Then there's the wound that heals, that we weren't even aware of in ourselves or others. And we get to know ourselves a little bit more. And I really want to thank you. This is just a little mini course or class. And I hope you re-listen to this in the replay. And, you know, hopefully there'll be something you can get out of it to work with in your life and understand more of what I'm expressing. Any quick questions that I can try to answer, please? Sue, anything? Turn on your mic.
Okay, no, I think this was all just really wonderful and just fit into everything that I've been thinking about as far as, you know, the spiritual and the physical, you know, the two together. It's really helped me. Thank you.
All right, hon. Thank you. I appreciate it. Anything, Patty? Any questions or anything, please? Okay. All right. Michelle, anyone? Julie? Mike?
Let's see. Let me start. Let me just say, I might not be much, but I'm all I think about.
I hear you. Aren't we all?
What was I going to say?
That's the greatest thing on our minds.
Yeah. Yeah, you said so many awesome things. I'm so glad that I was here to listen, and that I'm going to be able to rewatch this and actually let it sink in. But I learned a long time ago, how I guess meditation starts when I'm able to observe my thoughts without judging. And at the time, I was in a lot of mental distress. And it also said, if you want to do this and learn how to do it, observe your thought and then watch what happens when you judge it. It
Yes.
goes down a rabbit hole, a bad place. And I immediately say, okay, I learned, I don't want to do this. So I
Yes.
thought I'd share that.
Yes, that's neat. And the idea is when you are in that meditation or contemplation or even prayer, is to observe. We're always praying. There's not a time that we're not, because we're always thinking of things, and those, every word, every thought, every action is our living prayer, literally. So it's the idea in the meditation or contemplation or prayer to become conscious of what our thoughts are. Then we find that we have, it's an automatic thing, we have less to say of the things of the world. And it's more about the wonderment it turns into, and we start perceiving more information about what's happening in the moment, our environment, about ourselves. There's a greater perception, but it turns into the objective observant versus the participant. And we get to experience this in our lives as we watch this. And we don't have to bother condemning ourselves for our thoughts if we can just perceive that we are thinking and actually become aware of what we're thinking. Then the activity of that judgment doesn't have any role for that moment in our life. I hope that makes sense, Mike, and everyone.
That the concept of wonderment, I was just thinking when you were talking how that would actually be a tool to allow me not to take things personally.
Right. Otherwise, it's egoic in the destructive nature.
Yes.
We need the ego. We literally, as I mentioned, we'd be like an old pair of worn out shoes without it. It's for the exaltation of that divinity within, which is an awareness, or and a conscious awareness. The more conscious we become of it, the more it shares.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Julie, please, any questions or comments, please?
I don't have any, thank you.
Okay, hon. And Monica, thanks for being here. I appreciate it. Totally honored.
Mark, can you see all of us? Because there's like 12 of us.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, this
Yeah.
Brad guy's waving his hand.
Yeah, may I say something? Can you-
Please, I would love it, Brad.
Okay. My experience and moments of inspiration are when I drop my self-concept and drop any idea of who I am being.
Yes.
It's really a matter of being willing not to know. And that's when self-discovery, which maybe is the same as what you're saying from a wonderment point of view.
Yes.
It's,
Yes. And that also leads into a humility that we're not conscious of, thank God,
Yes.
which is tremendous.
It's important to drop the chatter, the self-talk, the internal dialogue. Carlos Castaneda said a long time ago, turn off the internal dialogue and
Yes.
just experience pure being.
Yes. And this is how to approach that in a fairly healthy, easy way, is to become conscious as we can. Oh my God, I'm thinking about something, and how is it serving me?
Mm-hmm.
Then we begin to be more in control of the mind, the mass mind that we're a part of, and we get to witness it. Then as we're witnessing it, we're breaking it back at every turn that we accomplish that. And it happens millions of times a day, if not thousands and thousands of times a day.
Well, I like the expression, don't believe everything you think.
Correct. And it's the practice of not believing that.
Yes.
Yes. Then we're in more of a wonderment, and our mind gets to be curious. What does this mean, or how does it apply in my life? How is this serving me? And we're taking a look how it's serving you. I've had people tell me that when I've called them on particulars, that the voice would answer them, I don't serve you, but I got you. And that's basically what the mass mind is.
Mhm.
Please, anyone, thanks for being here, Brad. I appreciate that. Please, anyone else that I could try to answer a quick question. Sue.
I liked what you said, that many people want to give you help. Yeah, I think that's good.
Yes. Yes.
And you can question even experts.
Oh, always.
Yes, always. Yes. Always. And there's a lot of people around, though, that are helpful people in our lives. And there's also a lot of people that are there to help you to come back into the throes of the mass mind, for our destruction, to keep us from going to it, which is only the mind of fear if we take a look at it honestly within ourselves. It's to grab us into a conversation or an activity that's not going to be helpful for us. And that's a way of looking at, situations around you at any given time. Is it going to be helpful for us, or is it going to be destructive for us? Constructive or destructive? I always separate those two dynamics in the world. All right. Well, I'm honored. Please go to the circle tonight if you can. And at 6:30, there will be a replay. And also, for tomorrow, we have the gathering at 7 o'clock at night, my time, Colorado time. And have questions for me, please. I'd love to try to answer them. Also, I'll be doing a couple healings during the gathering, plus a 2-minute meditation at the end, which will be very powerful. And let's see, the healing circle tonight, I'll be working with people for one particular thing that they might have. And for this and all the events that I do on the Zoom, please, put in the comment box, you rock. Google loves the logarithms. So, all right, everyone. Thank you so much for being here and listening to me. And I'm looking forward to seeing you again. Blessings to everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.